Hold up. Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's Costa. I'm getting a video in because I know I haven't done one in a while. End of year is a hectic time of the year for most small businesses. Mine is not an exception. Been going through a myriad of things that you have to take care of before you get your end of year tax return in, or your tax documents to your accountant. I received all my 1099Ks, which is the form that your merchant services send you when you take credit cards and debit cards. All of those are sent to the IRS. So even when you sell on eBay, once you hit a $20,000 threshold on eBay, PayPal actually sends you a 1099K. I think it's like 200 transactions or $20,000, and it has to be both, I believe. So I mean, there's not a situation. There's hardly a situation where if you do $20,000, you haven't done 200 transactions unless you're selling cars or real estate. But so typical end of year stuff for me includes making sure that my compensation is considered reasonable. This is specific to C corporations. I have a C corp. It's not an S corp. It's not an LLC. It's not an LLP. It's not a sole proprietorship. It's a C corp. So the IRS requires that your compensation, your executive compensation, be deemed reasonable. That part is up for debate, but with the rising popularity in S corps, the spotlight has been kind of taken off C corps, because what happens is when you do a shareholder distribution in an S corp, since that's pass-through income, you end up not paying any FICA taxes, and the government wants to make sure that that's not the case. As far as C corps go, since you're just a W-2 employee to the corporation, you have to pay yourself what they deem reasonable benefits or salary and compensation. So typically the threshold's like $10,000. And obviously this is all relative to the revenue and to the margins of the business. But just a checklist of things that I do when I have my end of year for every year. I make sure my vendor information is all updated. So almost every business has vendors. You definitely have clients, otherwise you don't have a business. But if you're in a retail service or a non-services industry, then you're going to have vendors. You want to make sure all their information is up to date. And then kind of going right along with that is reconciling your receivables. You want to make sure any outstanding invoices, any overdue invoices, get those out. See if you can get those paid before you have to file, especially if it's already included in your gross revenue for the year. Another thing I do is retirement benefits. Got to make sure that's all paid in. There's a lot of different retirement plans for small businesses. There's simple IRAs, SEP IRAs. If you're a solopreneur, there's individual 401ks. There's KEO plans, which are kind of outdated. No one really does those anymore. Profit sharing plans. My particular business, we have a simple IRA, which is basically a small business version of a 401k. The simple IRA is a non-qualified plan, which doesn't have the same safeguards as a 401k, but also doesn't have the same administrative costs, which means that it's much less expensive to maintain, and still a nice little benefit for you to give to your employees. So besides that, you want to back up all your information for the year. If you're doing business in the year that you're doing business, and what I mean by that is if you're using 2017 or 2016 technology in 2016, then you got to back up your electronic information. Make sure that you have everything on record so that you can store that away, as opposed to maybe having like boxes and boxes of receipts stashed in your attic. part of this time of the year is giving your W-2s out to your employees. We had a ton of turnover in 2016. I think I sent out 23 W-2s, which just seems ridiculous to me that I've had 23 employees in 2016. Those have to be mailed out. Everything's late this year. This usually would have been done a while ago, but I think the IRS's actual deadline is January 29th. Don't quote me on that because that's just the first date that came to the top of my head and it sounds right. But those have already been put out. And then once you have all your W-2s, you look at what your salary or what your labor costs were for the year. And that is, good information to have because that'll let you know what you need to do going forward. So total compensation across all employees, including yourself, it will allow you to make just smarter decisions as when it comes to your staffing needs. Some of the other things that you can do, which are unnecessary, is get a list of your accomplishments for the year. Just put together a list of things that you set out to do and what did you accomplish. And then also the things that you wanted to do in 2016 that you didn't get done and that you're going to try to do in 2017. Everything else is just reporting stuff, reporting, inventory. Make sure. One thing I like to do, although I anticipate growth every single year, one thing I like to do is a final year-end inventory to see what I spent, because if I have the cash on hand, what I might do is I might take that cash and buy a year's worth of inventory, and that will allow for better cash flow, because once that inventory has been purchased, and if you purchase it all at once as opposed to installments throughout the year, you can get price breaks on volume. At least that's how most distributors work. The only other thing that's going on right now is the Pittsburgh store is now up and running. I just got my LED signs from China. I ordered new signs for the buildings because I'm going through the process of rebranding all my stores. I'm going to create a franchise concept. Once I have the franchise concept, I can start looking for new areas to grow the business and put someone else in without having to do the work myself. So I'm going to Pittsburgh tomorrow, just checking up on the store because it's a new store. Every time you have a new store, you got to treat it like a child. But this Saturday I'm going to Chicago, the Chicago location, and we're going to Bloomingdale, which is a wealthy area, and there's a location that we are scouting because between all the stores now I have enough extra equipment that we could literally open a new store day one, have the materials to open up and service the clients and not have to spend a penny besides security deposit on the lease. And that would be fantastic if we could do that. Other than that, my labor's being audited right now, which is pretty normal. A labor audit is just basically a third party is going to come in and look at your workers' comp, look at your labor costs, and make sure that you're appropriately covering the costs, the wages of the employees, because the state has an interest, or they say they have an interest in your employees' workers' comp. Pennsylvania actually, as a state, says that if you carry workers' comp, then your employees forfeit the right to sue you if they get hurt. I think almost all states have that except for Texas. There might be another state, but I know for certain that it's very few, and I know Texas is one of them, that it is not a law to carry workers' comp. I don't mind carrying workers' comp. The premium comes up every quarter, and it's not terrible. I've had one workers' comp claim, and the guy was trying to scam us, so it got shut down real fast, which is an interesting story. Speaking of scamming, our business did almost. Someone tried to scam us this yesterday. And what happened was, and apparently this is a pretty common scam for small businesses, but someone called up pretending to be the energy company, and the local energy company in Pennsylvania is, or at least central Pennsylvania, is PPL. And the kid called up to the store phone, which is an older phone. It doesn't really show the information like our smartphones do. And the dude said that we were $1,700 behind on our bill, which didn't make sense to me anyway, because we're usually on auto pay. But as I mentioned, I think in a recent video, my card was compromised, so I did cancel it. So I thought maybe my payment didn't go through, but either way, our energy bill is never more than $200. So the kid said someone was 45 minutes out from the store and they were going to shut the electricity off, and if once it was shut off, they wouldn't turn it back on until 4 days later. So you needed to make the payment now, and so for a little bit I was actually going along with it for a little bit until I realized that the conversation had almost gone on for 45 minutes and no one had shown up. And then, here was the key for him. The key for him to get his money was, he said, I couldn't pay for it over the phone with a credit card. He said that you needed to go to a PPL authorized kiosk to make the payment, and that didn't make any sense at all. So as soon as he said that, I knew that it was a scam. So he said the closest one to the store was CVS. I said, okay, let me drive to this CVS. He goes, oh, how long do you think it's going to take you? I was 30 minutes, 45 minutes. He's like, okay, well, keep me on hold while you drive there, because I need to walk you through the instructions on how to make the payment. And I said, okay, no problem. So I put him on hold and I put my phone in my pocket and I went about the rest of the day. And he eventually hung up. He tried to call back, and essentially I picked up the phone. I said, look, I know this is a scam, lose this number. And that was really it. But there's always someone out there trying to make a quick buck without doing it the right way. And there's no shortage of people that are willing to do whatever it takes to get the money, even if it means really hurting your business. I can't imagine, like, some people might, in the businesses most susceptible to that are the ones that are probably in bad shape as it is. If someone actually paid that $1,700, like, that might be enough to put them out of business. So it's tough. Got to keep an eye out. That's really it. I'm trying to get more consistent with my videos. I'm starting to realize, like, this isn't unique information. I don't have the charisma of some of the other people out there, and I definitely don't want to replicate some of the people that are out there. I kind of just want to tell my story, and I want it on the record. So that's kind of why I'm doing these videos. So I appreciate anyone that's actually watching them. I know it's few, far in between. Some people are watching them because a couple people have said something, but I mean, all it takes is probably one video. I'm gonna say something ridiculous for it to go viral, and then that's all it takes these days. But you want to do it the right way. You don't want to be some of these people. Like, there's a local bar that just got in trouble because the owner of the bar on his personal social media went off and said some ridiculous stuff, and now, that's not the kind of way you want to get notoriety. I'd rather do it the organic way. I'd rather do it because I'm saying some useful stuff that people appreciate, or just like hearing the story, seeing what's going on. But that's really it. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, email me at costa@capogroup.com, or find me on social media. It's Costa Capo, everything. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys. I'll try to get a video out later, and I'll talk to you guys then.
She say that she a wanderlust, but she ain't seen the world so much to do at 21. You feel invincible, so hard to find someone to trust. She's still a daddy's girl, she wanna be an actress and a singer like Selena. And she a movie buff, but she ain't seen Breakfast at Tiffany's or Breakfast Club. That's just before her time, so hard to keep a conversation when your mind's on vacation. You got pretty green eyes, I can see them dollar signs, girl. Oh yeah, I heard that you addicted to them sands now, girl. Go ahead with your sleepy ass. Go ahead. Shawty, give me a reason. You know she's a makeup artist. Hollywood apartment, she's a bartender and a part-time model. All her friends are verified, wow, man, that's so cool, wow. Girl, can we hang out? Let's take 1,000 pictures like the hype beast now. People saying that we're goals, that's all.